A billionaire left his safe wide open with $500,000 inside to test if people are truly honest. When a 6-year-old cleaning lady's daughter found it, what she did next made him freeze in shock. But that wasn't the most incredible part of this story. Let me tell you about Will Harrison. At 45, he had everything money could buy. His office sat on the top floor of a gleaming tower in downtown Dallas, overlooking a city that had made him incredibly wealthy. Harrison Enterprises was his empire, built from nothing through 15 years of 18-hour days, calculated risks, and the kind of determination that turns dreamers into legends. But success, as Will had recently learned, comes with a bitter price. Just 3 weeks before our story begins, his closest friend and business partner, someone he trusted with his life, had stolen $3 million from their company. $3 million. Gone, along with 15 years of friendship and the last piece of Will's faith in humanity. That betrayal left Will hollow inside. He found himself wondering late at night, is there a single honest person left in this world? Or is everyone just waiting for their chance to take what isn't theirs? And that's when Will Harrison decided to conduct the most expensive test of his life. Picture this. It's a Tuesday evening in October. The Dallas skyline glitters outside Will's corner office as he sits in his leather chair, staring at his open safe. Inside that safe sits more cash than most people see in a lifetime. Hundreds of thousands of dollars in crisp bills, stacked neatly like a green mountain of temptation. But tonight, Will doesn't close the safe. Tonight, he leaves it wide open, like a trap waiting to be sprung. Then he settles back in his chair, closes his eyes halfway, and pretends to be asleep. His breathing becomes steady and deep, but behind those nearly closed eyelids, he's watching, waiting, ready to have his worst fears about human nature confirmed once and for all. The night cleaning crew arrives at 8 o'clock sharp, just like they have every weeknight for the past 2 years. And that's when Grace Johnson walks into Will's life. Grace is 28 years old, though the weight of single motherhood has aged her beyond her years. She's been cleaning offices since she was 18, working double shifts to support herself and her 6-year-old daughter, Emma. During the day, she cleans a medical office across town. At night, she comes here to Harrison Enterprises, always bringing little Emma with her during school holidays because babysitters cost money she simply doesn't have. Tonight, Emma skips alongside her mother, wearing tiny pink rubber gloves, a gift Grace bought to make her daughter feel helpful during these long nights together. The little girl's eyes sparkle with curiosity as they enter the executive floor, her small hand tucked safely in her mother's. Grace begins her routine, methodically cleaning the bookshelves and dusting the expensive furniture that fills Will's office. She's focused professional, taking pride in her work even though she knows the man who owns this company probably doesn't even know her name. She's taught Emma to be quiet during these visits, to do her homework or color quietly while mommy works. But children, as you know, are naturally curious creatures. While Grace polishes the mahogany desk, little Emma wanders over to Will's chair. That's when she sees it, the open safe, with more money than her 6-year-old mind can even comprehend. Her eyes grow wide with wonder. She's never seen so much money in one place. At home, she and mommy count their coins and dollar bills carefully, making sure they have enough for groceries and rent. Will's heart pounds as he watches through barely open eyes. Here it comes, he thinks. The moment that proves everyone has a price, even innocent children. He prepares himself for disappointment, for the bitter confirmation that dishonesty lives in every human heart. His muscles tense as he waits for tiny hands to reach for his money. But what happens next stops Will Harrison's world completely. Emma doesn't take a single bill. Instead, she notices something that the adults around her had missed. The money is messy. Some bills are turned the wrong way, different denominations are mixed together, and the stacks aren't neat like the way mommy taught her to organize things at home. So, with the careful precision that only a 6-year-old can possess, Emma begins to fix it. Her tiny fingers work like those of a miniature accountant, separating the 20s from the 50s, the hundreds from the smaller bills. She turns each bill the same direction, stacks them according to size, and arranges everything with the kind of care you'd use handling something precious and sacred. "Mommy," she whispers, not wanting to wake the sleeping man in the chair. "Mr. Harrison's money was all messy. I fixed it up just like you taught me to do with our coins at home." Grace turns quickly, her heart jumping into her throat. "Emma, you can't touch the boss's things." "But it was messy, Mommy," Emma responds with that innocent logic that children possess. "He'll be happy when he wakes up and sees everything is tidy." In that moment, Will Harrison feel something he hasn't felt in years. His throat tightens with an emotion so powerful it nearly brings tears to his eyes. This child, this beautiful, innocent little girl who probably has never held more than $20 in her hands at one time, just organized a fortune instead of taking a single penny from it. More than that, she told her mother exactly what she had done. No secrets, no guilt, just the transparent honesty of someone who has nothing to hide, because she's never learned that hiding things might be necessary. Will continues to pretend to sleep, but inside, something fundamental is shifting. The cynicism that had hardened his heart like armor begins to crack. Here, in his own office, a 6-year-old has just restored his faith in humanity with one simple act of kindness. Grace gently leads Emma away from the safe, whispering about respecting other people's belongings, but Will can hear the pride in her voice. This is a woman who has raised her daughter right, who has taught her values that money can't buy and circumstances can't shake. As mother and daughter continue their work, moving quietly through the office, Will realizes that his test has revealed something he never expected to find. That honesty still exists in this world. That good people are still out there, teaching their children right from wrong, even when no one is watching. But Will Harrison has no idea that this beautiful moment of restored faith is about to set in motion a series of events that will expose a darkness lurking within his own company. Emma's simple act of kindness has awakened something in Will, a desire to protect good people from the evil that surrounds them. And sometimes, when a billionaire decides to fight for what's right, the consequences can be more dramatic than anyone imagines. Sometimes the biggest monsters hide behind expensive suits and inherited privilege. And sometimes, it takes a billionaire's resources and a mother's love to expose them to the light. After that night, when little Emma restored Will Harrison's faith in humanity, he couldn't stop thinking about Grace and her daughter. Here was a woman working 2 jobs just to survive, raising a child who organized money instead of stealing it. Will quietly began increasing Grace's salary, telling his HR department it was a category adjustment. It was the least he could do for someone who had given him such a precious gift, hope. But good deeds, as Will was about to learn, don't always go unnoticed by the wrong people. Meet Robert Sterling, though everyone called him Rob, 50 years old, vice president of operations, and the son of one of Harrison Enterprises' founding partners. Rob had never worked a day in his life for anything he owned. His corner office, his Mercedes, his expensive suits, all of it handed to him on a silver platter because of his last name. And Rob Sterling had a problem with people who looked like Grace Johnson. During a routine budget meeting, Rob noticed the salary adjustment on Grace's paycheck. His voice dripped with disdain as he questioned Will in front of the entire executive team. "Why are we wasting extra money on cleaning staff?" Rob asked with a smirk, "especially on that specific employee." Will felt his jaw tighten. "Grace is an excellent professional." Rob actually laughed. "Excellent? Will, you need to understand where these people belong. Give them an extra coin, and they'll soon be asking for the whole vault. It's in their nature." The room fell silent. Will stared at Rob, realizing for the first time that he had been working alongside a monster. But Rob wasn't finished. Besides, he continued, she brings that child here. That's inappropriate. What kind of mother exposes a kid to a corporate environment? Clearly, she doesn't have proper family structure. That night, we'll watch through the security cameras as Rob cornered Grace in the hallway. What he witnessed made his blood boil. Listen carefully, Rob said, blocking Grace's path. I know you're getting more money than you deserve. I don't know what kind of favors you're doing, but it's going to stop. Grace's face went pale. Sir, I don't understand. Of course you don't understand. People like you never do. You just take what you're given and keep quiet. And get that child out of here. This isn't a daycare center. Little Emma hid behind her mother, frightened by the aggressive tone. Grace pulled her daughter close, her voice steady despite her fear. Sir, I'm just doing my job. Your job is to clean and be invisible. Nothing else. Will watched from his office, feeling something he hadn't felt in years. A burning, purifying rage. Rob had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. He had terrorized an innocent woman and frightened a 6-year-old child whose only crime was existing while black. That night, Will made a phone call that would change everything. Marcus, I need your services again. Marcus Stone was a former FBI investigator who specialized in corporate corruption cases. He and Will had worked together during the embezzlement investigation, and Marcus knew how to dig up dirt on people who thought they were untouchable. What kind of trouble now, Will? The kind that involves racism and abuse of power. I need everything you can find on Robert Sterling. Marcus chuckled. That daddy's boy? This'll be easier than taking candy from a baby. Guys like him always leave trails. While Marcus began his investigation, Rob escalated his campaign of terror against Grace. He filed false reports with HR, claiming she was consistently late and that Emma was causing disturbances. When the HR director couldn't find any evidence to support his claims, Rob became more brazen. Records can be altered, he told her arrogantly. I'm the vice president. My word should be enough. But Will was watching everything, recording every conversation through the security system that Rob himself had approved. The very cameras meant to monitor employees were now documenting his own crimes. On Wednesday night, Rob made his most dangerous mistake yet. He followed Grace to the parking lot as she arrived with Emma for their shift. I know you're doing more than cleaning to earn that extra money, he said, his implications clear and disgusting. What kind of special services are you providing? Grace trembled with a mixture of anger and fear. Sir, what you're suggesting is completely inappropriate. I'm suggesting that people like you always have a price. And I'm curious to know what yours is. Emma looked up at her mother with confusion. Mommy, why is that man being mean? Grace knelt down to her daughter's level, speaking with a dignity that made Rob's cruelty look even more pathetic. Don't worry, sweetheart. Some adults are unhappy and try to make other people unhappy too. Rob laughed cruelly. Unhappy? I have more money in this wallet than you two will ever see in your entire lives. What Rob didn't know was that every word was being recorded in crystal clear audio. Meanwhile, Marcus had struck gold. Rob Sterling wasn't just a garden-variety racist. He was a serial predator who had spent 15 years systematically torturing minority employees at multiple companies. Marcus showed Will screenshots of social media posts that made his stomach turn. Need to keep these monkeys in their place, Rob had written in a private group. The only way to deal with these people is to show them who's boss from the start. There were records of 3 previous lawsuits, all settled out of court by Rob's wealthy father. A pattern of harassment so clear and documented that it could fill a textbook on workplace discrimination. But Marcus saved the best for last. Will? He's planning something big against Grace. I intercepted messages where he's organizing a setup. He's going to plant something expensive in her cleaning supplies and then discover it publicly. Will felt the blood drain from his face. What kind of setup? A $15,000 Rolex watch. He's going to call the police, make a scene, humiliate her in front of everyone. That's when Will Harrison smiled for the first time in weeks. It wasn't a pleasant smile. Perfect, he said quietly. Let him try. The following Tuesday evening, Rob executed his plan with the arrogant confidence of someone who had never faced real consequences. He planted the expensive watch in Grace's cleaning cart, then waited 15 minutes before returning with 2 security guards. "Mrs. Johnson," he said with fake courtesy, "I need to check your cleaning supplies. We've had reports of missing items." Grace stopped working, confused. "Mr. Sterling, I don't understand." "Standard procedure," Rob lied, walking directly to the cart. With theatrical flair, he pulled out the Rolex. Well, what do we have here?" Grace turned completely white. "I've never seen that watch in my life." "Of course not," Rob said with poisonous sarcasm. "It just magically appeared in your cart." Emma stood up from her homework table, frightened. "Mommy, what's happening?" "Be quiet, child," Rob ordered brutally. "Your mother has some explaining to do." One of the security guards was already calling the police, just as Rob had instructed. But that's when the elevator doors opened, and Will Harrison stepped out with Marcus Stone and 3 people Rob didn't immediately recognize. "Rob," Will said with deadly calm, "I think you should hang up that phone." "Will, thank God you're here. We caught your employee stealing your watch." Will laughed, a cold sound that echoed through the silent office. "My watch? Rob, I've been wearing an Apple Watch for 5 years. I've never owned a Rolex in my life." The confidence began to drain from Rob's face. What are you saying?" "I'm saying we just recorded you buying that watch this morning. We have the receipt, and planting it in Grace's cart to frame her." Marcus stepped forward with a tablet, showing high-definition footage of Rob placing the watch in the cart 40 minutes earlier. "Angle 1, he said, swiping to the next video. "Angle 2. Angle 3. We even have your face clearly visible when you check to make sure nobody's watching." Rob tried to speak, but Will cut him off. "Oh, but there's so much more." Marcus opened a digital presentation and began projecting it on a portable screen. First came screenshots of Rob's racist social media posts. "Need to keep these monkeys in their place," Marcus read aloud. "That's yours, isn't it, Rob?" Grace gasped, covering her mouth. One of the 3 strangers stepped forward. "Jennifer Walsh, Channel 7 News. Mr. Sterling, would you like to comment on this evidence of systematic racial discrimination?" Rob finally understood the magnitude of what was happening. "You can't use that. I have rights." "Of course you do," Will said calmly. "You have the right to remain silent, because everything you say will be used against you, not just by the police, but by the press, the company board, and Grace's lawyers." The evidence kept coming. 15 years of documented harassment. Bank records showing payments to silence previous victims. Audio recordings of Rob's threats to Grace in the parking lot. His disgusting sexual advances. His phone calls to his father, planning to fabricate legal troubles for an innocent woman. As the police arrived, not to arrest Grace, but to handcuff Rob Sterling, Will knelt down to Emma's height. "The bad man won't ever bother you or your mommy again, sweetheart." Emma looked up at him with those bright, trusting eyes. "Mr. Harrison, will mommy be safe now?" "More than safe," Will promised. "Your mommy is going to be just fine." As they led Rob away in handcuffs, his career destroyed, his reputation in ruins, his family fortune lost, Will turned to Grace with an offer that would change her life forever. "Grace, how would you feel about a promotion?" "I'm thinking Director of Human Resources." 6 months later, Grace Johnson walked through the halls of Harrison Enterprises not as a cleaning lady, but as an executive. Her first decision was to create a scholarship program for employees' children, a program Emma would be the first to benefit from. Rob Sterling? He spent 18 months in prison and emerged to find his life completely destroyed. No job, no family, no future. The man who once terrorized people because of their skin color now worked at a used car lot, earning in a year what Grace made in 3 months. And little Emma? She's attending the best private school in Dallas, already talking about becoming a lawyer, to help people like Mr. Harrison helped us. Sometimes justice isn't just about punishment. It's about lifting up the good people and showing the world that kindness, when protected by strength, can create miracles. Will Harrison learned that the best response to hatred isn't more hatred. It's love backed up by action. And sometimes, when you stand up for what's right, you don't just change one life. You change them all. If this story touched your heart, remember to subscribe, because the world is full of people like Grace and Emma, good people who just need someone to believe in them. And maybe, just maybe, you can be that someone for somebody else.